What's going on, guys? It's Unknown Player here, and today we'll be talking some more about the upcoming Age of Triumph DLC event. We got a quick trailer actually showing off some very interesting things. There's actually a new Fatebringer in it, which might not have arc damage. We'll talk about that later, and also a new record book, and some absolute confirmation that Vault of Glass is definitely coming back. And of course, this is all in the run-up to the big reveal stream happening this Wednesday, where we'll be going through all the details of the event as a whole. So going through this teaser trailer, we can see a couple things, mainly that crest which we saw before, showing off all four of the raids. There's kind of a cool cinematic with the speaker, which isn't actually new. There's actually the same one at the very beginning of the game, but I guess they put it there for cinematic purposes. Now they go into the record book and they say it's the biggest record book yet, and they aren't lying. This is definitely a very big one. This is 13 pages long. So this essentially is going to be the year 3 moments of Triumph, but essentially it's going to wrap up Destiny as a whole. Destiny 1, that is, before Destiny 2, of course. So instead of just another Moments of Triumph, this is the Age of Triumph, and it's a very big deal with 13 pages, as opposed to like the 3 or 4 they normally are. So yeah, this is a very big book. You can see there's a page for each of the classes. So the Hunter's Way, there's one for the Warlock and the Titan as well. There's probably one for the Raids, probably one for the Crucible, and all the different activities, strikes, stuff like that. Now, in the Hunter's one, you can see some kind of basic Hunter challenges, I guess. There's Mountain Summit, Cutting Edge. I think that's probably melee. There's probably some for supers and using elements, one for grenades and generating orbs. So generally kind of Hunter challenges. And of course, there's one for each of the classes. You can kind of see in the background blurred, there's the Warlock path as well. And it says, you're the hero, and there's a bunch of other challenges as well, like Grain of Iron, Show Your Might, and all the others you can see. But also at the bottom left there, you can see Doom of Oryx, which of course signifies that Oryx is going to be involved in this event somehow, and probably the King's Fall raid, you have to complete it. There'll be a challenge for actually doing the raid and killing Oryx. So again, showing that Oryx is actually coming back as well, not just Vault of Glass and Crota's End, but also the King's Fall raid. That should be in here as well, seeing as the challenge for killing him. So next up, let's look at the most interesting part of the trailer, and this is where we get into the Vault of Glass, which of course Bungie is massively hinting. The Vault of Glass is obviously coming into this event somehow. So this is actually a couple shots of Guardians walking into it. And the most interesting one is this one right here, where you can see the Fatebringer being used in first person. Obviously it's all cinematic, so the heads up display is gone. But this is actually a shot of a kind of like sort of Fatebringer weapon being used, but it's not exactly, and I'll go into what I mean. So if I actually compare the image of an old Fatebringer, like the actual one, you can see it's got the blue lights on the top where the kind of like sights are, and also this blue flashing because obviously it does arc damage. That's how the weapon shoots. It does these arc explosions. You can see like electricity effects, and that goes around the kind of muzzle and explosion of the weapon. So if we compare that to the actual Fatebringer, or kind of Fatebringer seen in the trailer, there is none of that. There are no blue lights which you can notice on the top of the gun. So maybe this Fatebringer, or whatever it is, doesn't actually do arc damage. Maybe all of these primaries in the Vault of Glass, they've taken away the elements of damage. I think it's a possibility. There's a possibility it could also be cinematic, and they might have just taken away the lights, or it may just be some kind of like video thing. But there's definitely something important to note. There's no blue flashes. Possibly this weapon does not have arc damage, and that's maybe what Bungie are doing, removing all the elements from the primaries. So that's a possibility. Again, it's not guaranteed, just something I noticed, and it's definitely worth paying attention to. It's not like this is an Imago loop. This is definitely the Fatebringer. It's all brown and the same bronze theme, but this does not have those blue lights, which is the bottom line here. So definitely very interesting. They then go on to kind of move through the Vault of Glass. You can see the jumping puzzle, and they say, and more. So, of course, there's going to be some other mysteries in this event that we yet to find out about. There isn't really much you can draw from the footage of killing Atheon. It's just pretty normal. I'm pretty sure some of it is kind of stock footage, so nothing too out of the ordinary there. It's pretty much a normal look at Vault of Glass. So I guess this kind of confirms that the Vault pretty much will be the same, but the level will be tuned way up. And of course, going to be new rewards. We saw that Hunter dressed up in really cool gear. I'm assuming that's going to be part of the rewards, or maybe from the record book, or maybe from Eververse. Who knows how it's going to be earned. But inside the Vault, it pretty much looks the exact same as year 1. It's not transformed, no new enemies or like differences. Atheon's still there. The main difference that you can spot is, of course, that Fatebringer does not have arc damage anymore, from what we can see anyway. So it may be simply the case that these raids have been bumped up, and the elements have been stripped from the primaries, and that is how we're getting it. In, of course, addition to the other stuff we're going to be getting in the event. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think about these weapons no longer having their elemental burns? Are you happy to see that? Or do you think you would prefer them with the burns? I think most people would prefer them, to be honest. I mean, in my opinion, I don't really see much issue with having them in there. Obviously, the reason Bungie took them away in the first place back in Taken King was because they were kind of overpowered for what they're supposed to be, like primary weapons. And there wasn't really much use in using heavies or special weapons, seeing as the primaries had burns as well. So that was why they took them away. But in my opinion, I mean, now I feel like it would be kind of something cool to have, just to have fun. And Bungie say, screw it, everyone has the elements back. And for the remaining months up until Destiny 2, we can all just blitz through strikes and absolutely destroy any PvE and have lots of fun with these elemental primaries. It will definitely be a good incentive for everyone actually to go through all of these raids and actually trying to get these elemental primaries once again. But I can't really see many issues. Obviously, Crucible will be unaffected. No one cares if you've got an element on your primary. But I think it would be pretty cool if everyone could just have their element burns back for the remaining few months of Destiny 1. But I can kind of see why Bungie wouldn't do that, because it kind of goes against everything they work towards with Taken King. So it's probably not going to happen. I think it is likely this Fatebringer does have this element removed. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, even more confirmation that Vault is definitely coming back for anyone that wasn't believing it. Also, do let me know if any of you haven't actually played Vault of Glass. I'd be interested to see how many of you have never played Vault in Year 1 are actually excited to hop into it for the first time with this new light level and, of course, new incentives to play. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. Drop a like rating if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.